Hello everybody. So yes, it's Friday afternoon, which means you know what time it is? It's wine o'clock. Today's choice of grape is actually one that I've just picked up in the supermarket. It's called the Naked Grape from California. It's a Cab Sauv. Aromas of dark fruit and blackberry. I don't know if you can get this where you are in the world, but it is actually very nice if you do come across it. Not too sweet, not too heavy. It's quite palatable. But yes, that is today's fine choice of wine to carry us on through today's review. So today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing a couple of pieces that I picked up from Dior to complement my already sort of growing and expanding jewelry collection. One of the pieces I absolutely adore, I love, no questions asked. I think it's stunning, it's beautiful. But a couple of the other things I'm a little bit sort of, I don't know, I love them, but some of the reviews that I've seen on these particular items, I'm a bit hesitant as to whether I should be keeping them or whether I need to go and exchange them for something else. I'm very interested to hear what your views and your comments are. So if this is something that you purchased and you found that it hasn't worn so well or not really been something that you've used a lot of, do let me know to help kind of, you know, guide my decision making. At the moment, I'm keeping them, but yeah, let's see how we get on. So to start with, in terms of the overall sort of packaging, nothing unusual to call out here. It is the standard sort of Dior white sort of creped. Is that the word? You know what I mean? Anyway, you can see it's kind of got the texture to it. Crept. I'm thinking Halloween here. Anyway, regardless, makes no difference. But it's the same packaging that that my Dior shoes came in. Same packaging, consistency, on point for the brand. Loving the bow on the top, beautiful. Yeah, can't fault them at all. So 2 seconds of Googling later, it is crepe material, but do correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Yeah, but it is that kind of, yeah, textured material. So let's get into the actual unwrapping, unboxing. So I'm not going to undo the bow because I think the bow is beautiful and I can actually get the bits and pieces out without undoing it. So the first thing that I'm going to pull out is actually the smaller box here, which is in fact a little ring that I've picked up from Dior, and I'm just pulling up the details of it in case you're interested. So the ring that I actually went for was the Clair de Lune ring. So again, do correct me if I'm saying that wrong. I'm going on best effort basis, but it is this one here. Okay, so in terms of the packaging, obviously it comes in the beautiful box with the Dior on the front, and inside, what I really like about Dior is their attention to detail with how they package everything. So obviously the ring is inside, but it's got that sort of beautiful kind of like tissue paper with the Dior very faintly on sort of like monogrammed all over it, and they've gone ahead and stuck a little Dior sticker on the paper as well. Once you kind of open up the tissue paper, which you do so ever so delicately, before we actually get into the item, just look at how much detail has gone into that tissue paper. They've kind of like folded it multiple times to get that sort of like, I don't know how you would explain it. It's like a layered look. I was a bit kind of dubious when the sales associate was taking so long in the store to package up the items. I was like, what are you doing? But when you kind of do the unboxing, it is the attention to detail that is immaculate. You really can't fault them from a price point versus the satisfaction of actually unboxing your items. They really, really have it fine-tuned. The ring itself comes in this gorgeous sort of like little canvas pouch. I am a little bit disappointed that it didn't come in a ring box, but I'm wondering whether they take the same stance as Tiffany does, that unless it is a specific collection or whether it is more their high-end jewelry, they don't tend to hand out the ring boxes. They tend to give you these little jewelry pouches, which, to be honest, it's not a biggie, but maybe it's just my personal preference that I would have liked to have had a ring box for it. regardless, makes no difference to the actual jewelry itself. So inside the little pouch, what I do particularly like about this is that the pouch is not canvas all the way around. It has got this sort of like netting organza material to it. So if you had quite a few of these stored up, you would be able to see what is actually in the pouch, and whether it's the right piece of jewelry you were looking for or not, you could kind of filter through it quite easily. So kudos to them on that perspective. I do think that is quite a good thing to have from a packaging perspective. Now, the ring itself is one I tried loads of different rings on in the store. The sales assistant was actually very good with me. I was in there for a good hour and a half, kind of looking through, you know, what I wanted. She was going through the cruise collection. We were talking about not just jewelry, but handbags and shoes and how everything kind of fits together. And she was giving me the history behind some of the new bags that have come out. She was really, really good at her job, very knowledgeable, and I really appreciated that given how much I was kind of spending in the store. So after having considered a few different rings, and there was one that I may have to go back in and get, it was beautiful, but there was a few things about it I was a bit like, I don't know whether that's going to get on my nerves or not, so I ended up going with this particular ring. Now, what I like about this ring in particular, and I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it for you, is that you can actually see it's got the C and the D on it for Christian Dior. It's kind of got that beautiful, what's the word, like a chain effect to the ring as well. So it's not just a solid band. They have taken some attention to detail on this as well. And I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it right now, but there is also a little star on the side here, which is part of the sort of J'adore Christian Dior type of like logoing as well. So there's a few elements to the ring that I really, really liked, and what I really enjoyed about this was I actually purchased it for my pointer finger on my right hand side. I thought it complemented my Cartier ring as well, and it wasn't just the solid gold, it's obviously got the sort of diamante detail to it as well, so it just kind of gave it a bit of edge. But I absolutely love the ring. I just think it's a stunning piece of jewelry. It really does kind of add to my collection. Love it. But there are a few other pieces that if you wanted something a little bit more toned down, or if you wanted something that was a little bit more in your face, that's what I like about Dior, is you can kind of balance, you know, what your preferences are, and you can build onto their collections as well. So love the ring, love the packaging, wish it came in a ring box, but lo and behold, it doesn't really make a difference in terms of the product itself. Okay, so the next items that we're going to be looking at are actually called, and I'm going to give you the name for them, the J'adore Bracelet Set, and I got them in the gold tone and rose gold metallic cotton. Now, the packaging is very similar to the ring, so it comes in a little box with the pouch, and the pouch has got the organza kind of like, you know, netting in it and blah, blah, blah. So very similar in terms of the way that it's been packaged up. But these bracelets in particular drew my attention because they're nothing like what I've got already. So a lot of the jewelry that I've got is either something very similar to the Tiffany bracelet. I have a few pieces from Balenciaga, from Louis Vuitton, very kind of leather focused, whereas these are cotton based. Now, I love these because they are very different. I haven't seen these before in many other stores or brands. I love the fact that they were very kind of neutral toned as well. So they're going to go with quite a lot of what I wear, and then you can obviously dress them up and dress them down. Now, the only thing that puts me off is that I have seen other reviews where people are saying it's a lot of money to be spending on cotton, canvas, you know, type of material. Now, in my own mindset, I'm a bit like, well, yeah, it probably is. However, having said that, you know, you can buy a pair of leather shoes or a pair of leather trainers, and at the same time you can buy a pair of canvas trainers which have got the laminate and all that kind of stuff on top of it, and they're pretty much the same price. So I think, to give Dior credit, they've kind of gone into a different area of the market, which to me is quite young, and that's what I really like about these, is they're very young looking. They kind of remind me of the friendship bracelets that you used to have and make when, you know, I was a kid. Same kind of, well, it's a very similar type of concept, so that's what kind of drew me to them, is like very nostalgic. But I love the coloring. I thought they were just something that I'm gonna get a lot of wear out of, but I'm curious to see what everybody else's thoughts are on these types of items and the material that they use compared to your normal sort of like gold, sterling silver, all that kind of thing. But I just thought they were really different. I thought I'd get a lot of use out of them. Yeah, I just thought they were really pretty. So there you go. Those are the sort of items that I've recently picked up from Dior. I've never had Dior jewelry before. This was just something that I knew what I wanted. I wanted another ring for my collection. I actually went into Fendi to go and have a look at one of their rings, which I'd seen on a website, and I'd seen a few other sort of like Instagram influencers kind of, you know, showing the ring off, and I was like, oh, I really like that. However, when I went down and tried it on in the store, it wasn't quite what I was expecting. It was a bit too clunky for me. So I ended up in Dior on the off chance that they might have something, and lo and behold, they did. So yeah, it was an interesting afternoon shopping, and like I say, I'm really happy with the pieces that I've purchased. But in terms of the bracelets, I'm interested to see what other people's viewpoints are when it comes to this type of material, rather than the gold and silver kind of concept. So there you have it. Those are the little pieces that I picked up from Dior. I'm actually a little bit upset. I've just realized that on that side of the bag, it must have been where it was in the taxi the other day. It's kind of got a bit dirty. But I don't actually have one of their bags out on display at the moment, so I might put one of the boxes out instead. I must admit, I do like having these types of packaging that I can kind of put them out for display as well. So I'm gonna have to see what I can play around with, but there you go. Thank you very much for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, like I've said before, probably more so than I should have done, but do let me know what your favorite item was, what you think in particular to, you know, these little bad boys. And if there's anything that you've got in your collection that you bought from Dior, whether it be vintage, whether it be part of the new collection, I'm really interested to kind of hear, you know, what you've got and what you've enjoyed about the collection as well, which kind of helps then to inform myself and other people as to what they should be keeping an eye out for. But yeah, I've never had anything from Dior before, so we're going to see how this wears, but so far so good.